the Second Amendment. God gave it to me. Not one politician, not one government legislation can take it from me.
Gang, 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 hey, yo, yo. I'm a gun-toting patriot, God-fearing patriot. Bryson, why they mad? Cause I'm really maybe faking it. Free speech advocate, it's on my mind, I'm saying it. I'm about to buy another gun and ain't nobody taking it. Gun-toting, Bible reading, God believing, truth speaking American. This MAGA season, Democrats committing treason. I know they think it's sweet, but you don't know who you dealing with.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the introduction video. I was going to have Chaka join us, so he has the link, and whenever he's ready, he will join us. But this video, well, this series, this live show is going to be mainly about how we moved on from our neutrality. So I hope everybody can hear me. If there's anybody in the chat, you can let me know. But basically, you know, growing up as witnesses, we were always supposed to be neutral. And so that's basically what I wanted to get everybody's perspective on. If you want to join, oh, I should put the link. Okay, give me a second. Copy. Okay, I'm going to put the link in the chat. Okay, so if anybody wants to join us, you can. I also put it in the Discord. And so, yeah, I'm just going to give, I guess, basically my own story first, since I'm the only one here. But that's why I wanted to get Chaka's perspective, because he used to be an elder, so he knows, you know, way more than I do. And so I would like to know how an ex-elder moved on from, you know, being physically in, mentally out, to then leaving the religion, and then now he's interested in politics. Like, hey, Adrian. Okay, so Chaka's gonna join us soon, and since this is live, I mean, if he comes, he comes. But I'm just gonna give the introduction anyways. I hope you like the background. Yeah. So anyways, I want to see Chaka's perspective from an ex-elder to now that he wants to talk about politics, because he's the one who reached out to me. Once again, like the same thing with the alternative watchtower study. It was always his idea to talk about, you know, something, and then he's like, oh, we should do it together. And I'm like, of course, I've been waiting for this moment. Like, you already know. If we spoke before, you already know that I am so heavy into politics. Hey, Darth. Yeah, doing good. Hey, yo, right? Especially for the political series. Like, if you saw my post, I was like, this is the XJW political corner now. So welcome, everybody. But for anybody who's not a Jehovah's Witness, you know, that's why I just want to give a little intro. So as a Jehovah's Witness, you are not allowed to vote. So fun fact, okay, if you didn't know that, you're not allowed to vote. But they don't explicitly say that in the publications or anything. This is an unspoken rule. You're not supposed to vote. You're supposed to be neutral. And if they do find out that you are registered to vote, or that you voted, or that you were politically active, if you're going to any protests or anything like that, you will get reproved. Okay? And nobody knows why you get reproved or why you get disfellowshipped, right? That's private information. So if you get reproved or disfellowship for voting, I think that, isn't it illegal? It is illegal, right? Because it's like you're giving people consequences for, you know, exercising a right that we have in this country, you know. Hello, Thrifty Treasure. Hello, this is great. Yep. Isn't that full-blown illegal that a religious institution can't suppress your right to vote? Exactly. So that's why this is an important subject for me, you know, ex-Jehovah Witness. And our community doesn't really talk about these things like explicitly and for a long period of time, like something dedicated to just politics. or I just haven't seen it. So I'm willing to start it, and that's why I'm doing this live series. I want to do this at least once a week, and I want to have different people on that are willing to discuss their political opinions on live. So that's why I have the link up there. You can click it, we can discuss. But yes, Darf, if you vote, if they find out that you vote, because you could be registered, right, and vote and have an opinion, but don't say anything. You see, that's what they always want you to do, is to be quiet, don't say nothing. Or if somebody else finds out that you vote, like if you have any, political stuff, hats, flags, anything that will affiliate you with a party, or even the flag. You know what I mean? Like, we have issues with these things. We don't salute the flag. But you see, that's not really as heavy, in my opinion, than it is to suppress your vote. Because if they do find out that you vote, you can get reproved, and you will be treated as if you committed a sin. And that's so wrong, in my opinion, because voting is not a sin. Having an opinion is not a sin, but it is to them. Because you know what they say? My mom used to say, "Oh, we don't vote." And one of the reasons, or like excuses, that she would give people is because we already voted when we got baptized. We chose Jesus. Jesus is king. Christ is king, basically. They were basically saying Christ is king. And that's why we don't have to vote for any human person in our government or politics, because first of all, that has nothing to do with us, and second, we already voted for Jesus. Oh, so that's the mentality that you are growing up with. So that's why I felt like politics would never matter to me. It wouldn't affect my life personally. We would watch these things on TV as if it was entertainment. Like, literally, we would watch the debates and watch things, and we would just look at this stuff like, oh, this is gonna be all over one day. Armageddon is gonna come and destroy these earthly governments, and then we would have a one world government. Does that sound familiar? Right? Like, once you start waking up to the language, just to the ideology of Jehovah's Witnesses, it is like what we see in the secular, world. We just don't put two and two together, because we're thinking, oh, this is going to be paradise. This is going to be Jehovah's system with Christ as king. So we don't have to worry about politics. I don't know law, but okay, but I don't know what law that well. Jesus Christ. But that sounds very illegal. It is. It is. And that's why they don't have any official rules, because they can't tell you that you can't vote. But that's the unofficial, unspoken rule amongst witnesses. So we never voted ever in our lives. I've never had to do research. I've never had to formulate a political opinion ever in my life, because we're not thinking in those terms at all. So this series is going to give that opportunity for all of us to either start sharing those political opinions. How did we get there? What was the journey? Aside from waking up from the cold, how did we nurture our political identity? You know what I mean? Like, it is a part of your identity, That's just one of the aspects of life that we need to start thinking about a little bit more, Hey, Ruby, I have to be honest with you. I applaud you for managing to remain a Christian after leaving JW. How does that happen? Okay. Great question. So, remaining Christian, that happened recently. Okay. So, in 2020, and what's funny is that my, coming back to Christianity, hi, Devin. It was through politics. Believe it or not, my faith was reignited through politics. And it was only because in 2020, when the election was going on and we were having these conversations, and I was online all the time, those two issues came up. Every single time that you are contemplating on who to vote for, they would bring up something about religion, or is he Christian? Is he not? Or is this person, like political candidates? And so the issue of abortion, or the issues that have to do with like women's rights and stuff like that, a lot of my opinions obviously are Christian based, based on the Bible. So when I'm looking at household structures, or the role of the woman, the role of the man, if an abortion should be legal or illegal, like what, I was like, okay, so what is my opinion? And every time that I would ask myself, well, how do I feel about it? I cannot separate my Christian values with politics. It almost comes together. Like it can be very linked or it could not. You know what I mean? Like there are certain people that are totally removed and they don't really care about what the Bible has to say or anything. So they're going to vote accordingly. And you will notice that vote. You know what I mean? They're going to be voting for people who don't really share those views. But on the other hand, right? The Christian vote, those people, I feel as if I fit into that group. So when I'm looking on who to vote for, I feel like I want to vote for somebody who at least mirrors my views enough that I feel comfortable voting for them. So personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable voting for somebody who believed in certain ideologies or movements or like anything of the trend of what's happening right now. I wouldn't vote for them. So if I had to choose, I would either not vote for anybody or I would vote for the person who I felt like was, Christian, who had the same values as I did, because that just makes, me feel better. So it is hard. It's hard because you're leaving from like that cult identity. And then you're thinking, okay, now I have to start making decisions because if I want to vote, I have to learn these things. I have to read about this person, who they are, their background, what their, experiences and stuff like that. And, we've never done that before in our life. I mean, it's the same thing like when you leave the cult and you're like, oh, I want to get a tattoo or I want to do something that is not like you can't do it, right? Because that's legal. You could get a tattoo over the age of 18. You could drink over, over the age of 21. Certain things you can do those things. But in the religion, you can't do it. So it's almost as if it is illegal for us. So if you wanted to get a tattoo, you would have to do your research on how does a tattoo work? Does it hurt? You know what I mean? So you're doing all this research because you want to get the tattoo. So I view it almost the same way. If I wanted to register to vote because I was thinking, okay, well, I'm free now. I can think the way I want to think and I can verbalize this because I can talk to people about it. Because even before, if I felt a certain type of way, you don't talk about it. You don't communicate. Like the communication issue is so bad in the, Jehovah's Witness upbringing. So now that I could talk to people online about this stuff and I could ask questions, and then those communities is what helped me, move forward. They were like, oh, take this political test or, take this personality test and see what you match up with. You know what I mean? So that was kind of how I kept it along the same lines, even though I'm not like a practicing Christian. You know what I mean? Like I'm just inquiring. So I think that those two things go hand in hand. Hello. Hey, Vern. Yeah, so I'm going to start this series and I already let everybody know that you can join me. We can talk about how you created that political identity, if you're comfortable sharing, what your leanings. And I want to find at least one person from each side of the spectrum. I want to get a left wing, I want to get a right wing, I want to get a center, I want to get as many people as I can in the future streams. So this is just going to be an introduction to that. And like I said before, I mean, I hope Chaka joins. I mean, I really hope that he does. Let me just check my messages really quickly, because this was supposed to be next Tuesday and I fumbled and I was like, oh, I need to okay, hold on. That's okay. See you next week. Okay, so he's not going to join. So I'll just leave his stream for next week. But this is a great intro. Oh my God. Okay, so if nobody is going to join this stream, I will just keep it really short because I just want to get everybody at least a little bit comfortable with how this series is going to start and how it's going to go. And if I could get each person from different sides of the spectrum, like I said, I think that would be super fun. Super fun. I'm not going to do like any debates or anything. I'm not going to, maybe in the future I might, if if anybody wanted to have a debate, that would be awesome, because we can have a topic, we can have, somebody in the middle, and then we'll have, everybody's screen up and running. That would be super fun. And just sharing how we got there. So after 2020, I registered to vote in 2018. Okay, so I'll give you guys my little story before I go. So I registered to vote in 2018, and I registered first as an independent because I didn't really know. I was thinking, oh, I don't want to be, I don't want to have labels. Once again, with like that JW mentality. So I was like, okay, fine, let's just be independent. But then we found out that Florida has closed primaries, which means that you have to vote for the person that is in your party. So if you are registered as an independent, you need to vote for an independent, person, whoever is the nominee of your party. So I was like, okay, so now they're forcing us to, like if I want to vote for Republican, I would have to change to Republican. Same thing with the Democrat, right? So while we were looking into politics, that was when DeSantis was running the first time against Andrew Gillum, I think his name is. So awesome to be able to express your thoughts freely. Looking forward to this. Yes. It's just me. Hi. Hey, y'all. Just dropping in late for the party. Yeah. So this is just the intro. If you want to hop on, I have the link in the chat at the very top. Okay, so DeSantis was running against Andrew Gillum, and I was like, okay, so we're gonna have to change our party if I want to vote for either one of them. So that's when I switched my registration to Republican, but that was later. That was like in 2020. But that was my first like election that I was looking into. I said DeSantis, and then he came out with that MAGA commercial. If anybody remembers that MAGA commercial where he's building the wall with blocks with his kids, that was hilarious. You know what I mean? It was nice. So I was like, okay, DeSantis really got it going on. But it was a really close call. Like I remember being in Florida during that time, and I was like, yo, I think Andrew's gonna win. And my husband was like, yeah, he sounds great, yada yada. And I was like, there's such something about him I don't like. And I was like, I'm not gonna get involved into this one. Okay, hold on. There is like a fight going on in the room over there, so I'm gonna be right back. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, guys. The kids started without us. Yeah, they're in their room with their electronics, and I'm like, listen, stay in the room. You could have electronics for as long as I'm streaming, because they never get to use the electronics, only like on the weekends since we homeschool. So this is like they get a little bit of free time whenever I'm doing this stuff. So they love it when I'm when I'm on the computer. Okay. So yeah, so Andrew and Ron. So they were running against each other, and I really thought that was a close thing. So, come to find out, after Trump endorsed, DeSantis, he won and he became governor, right? Okay. So that's history. So we're watching DeSantis, him being a governor. We're watching like his administration and everything that's happening in the news in Florida. And the last 4 years, because he went up for re-election recently, right? And that's when he ran for president. And I was so upset when DeSantis ran for president, because that was after his own election in Florida to become governor for the next 4 years. Wait, how long are they governor for? Let's see. I don't know. I think it's 4 years. Term limits. And I was so upset that he started running for president because, first of all, he signed a bill that would allow him to run as president while he was still governor. So he changed that law so that he himself can run for president. Okay, so that was one of the things where I was like, okay, that doesn't sound right. He should have not done that. Like that was the only thing that I disagreed with DeSantis. But then the whole scandal came out with Andrew Gillum, and he was caught with drugs, and it was a mess. And I was like, you see, I knew something was wrong with that guy. I trusted myself, and I did not vote. I skipped that election. So then after DeSantis, and I voted for DeSantis for his second term. I said, okay, this time I'm gonna get involved. And then after I voted for him, he announced that he was running for president. And I was like, really? Like, I want you to be my governor. I don't want you to be the president. You know what I mean? But you can't do anything because he's running, wasting all that money and time, knowing he should have known damn well that wasn't going to work. But I guess he had people in his ear telling him some nice stuff as if he was popular enough, to run. Anyways, whatever. He's good for Florida. Okay. So that's a little piece that I can share, at least for this video. I'm not going to get too much into my ideas just yet, since this is the introduction. I don't want to get canceled yet, but for the beginning, I'm willing to share that DeSantis, for me, has been a very good governor. And when I voted for him, I felt like I voted for somebody and they won, so that was like a little bit of happiness that I had. And it was a nice feeling. Everything that DeSantis has done since then, I completely agree with. So that should tell you a lot. He has been one of the best governors in my lifetime, like my conscious lifetime, because I grew up as a little girl in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s in New York City, after 9/11, after a terrorist attack. So those tensions and those ideas are, like, I still remember those. I still remember that. I still remember the patriotism from after 9/11. I still remember watching the president go on TV and literally standing in front of the rubble and being like, yeah, this is war. You know what I mean? So, and we had that, even though we were witnesses and even though I was a kid, I still felt like, yes, somebody did something bad to us and we should go and do it to them, or we should at least respond, or, something. But you don't really know these things and you don't really understand what war means, So that's what's hard. It's understanding who you're voting for, because that could really mean disaster for everybody, for the rest of the world. Hey.
Hello again.
What, y'all? Look at the background. I love yours.
Good. Yeah, I just wanted to come on and just a quick question that I feel a little bit dumb when it comes to politics, Ruby. I've been in JW all those years. And then even getting out, I did, my good wife kind of knows lots more than I do, but here's a question I have. And I've always had this regarding politics. When I say make North America great again, I'm including Mexico. So could you imagine, and I know, like, I was working with Honeywell, right? Products. All the Honeywell stuff was made in Mexico. Everything's made, like, Mexico has the ability to be like China. We're importing all this stuff over from China. Canada is, and the US too. And we're not making anything at home anymore. And I think if we want to make North America great again, and let's not build a border between Mexico. Let's bring work in. Let's quit buying from China. And then we don't have to ship across oceans. We don't have that problem. We can do it all on land, train, right? Mostly you do things by train, you manufacture, you're on your own continent, your own piece of land, and no longer going across the ocean. Could you imagine how much money we could save as North America? And then we could have $1. The dollar is going to
Right.
change anyways. Make one North American dollar. Mexico, everything, we all work together as a big continent. Of course, US would run it because
Hmm.
they're the biggest, in the world, right? So they'd run us, but we'd all meld together. We'd become
Right.
states. We'd basically become states of America.
Mm.
I don't know how you do that with all that British stuff, but from a logical standpoint of view, why are we air freighting all of this stuff in from China?
Hmm.
Mostly, we can
Yep.
do it here in North America. That's my big political question. Now,
Yeah.
I know nothing. I know nothing. I'm putting this
Yeah.
to you as an expert.
I'm not an expert. What?
You're going to
No.
teach us. I thought your thing said to teach us politics.
No.
You're teaching.
No. I
No?
I'm willing to share, like in future streams, how I feel about American politics and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I am nowhere near an expert. I'm literally learning US American
Oh,
history,
okay.
like as I'm homeschooling at the same time with them. So right
Good.
now
Good for you.
I'm at like a fourth grade, fifth grade level, learning
You
these
know,
things.
like it's your generation that's gonna make this happen. My generation's on its way out. We're trying to look for a little warmer
Definitely.
spot to live and, easier on the bones, aches in
Yeah.
the back, that kind of thing. That's us. You can make North America like the whole thing. Like, okay, go
Right.
for politics, start asking these questions. Why are we paying to make everything all over the world when we can do it all here? And then Europe can do everything there, and then some stuff we have to interchange. We know that, but
Hmm.
for the most of it, Europe could handle their stuff, and well,
Hmm.
down there, China and them, they can handle all their stuff. Well, and
Yeah.
Australia has New Zealand. That's not far to trade back and forth and manufacture, and some of the
Hmm.
smaller countries might have to ship. But we live in such a competitive world. If we became more at home and work with neighbor, okay, I'm coming back to love neighbor, work with neighbor, neighboring countries. This extends
Hmm.
not only love between our neighborhoods, right? We build
Hmm.
stronger communities if we have love in our neighborhoods. Stronger communities, stronger countries, stronger bordering countries. We have love between neighbor. That's, I don't know if we want to bring religious back to politics.
Hmm. Okay.
Those are
So
some questions I have for the political people out there that are running things.
yeah, those are great questions. But I think that's why, Trump, he won in 2016. You know what I mean? Because he was running on the wall. Making
Hmm.
Mexico pay for everything. Like there were certain buzz phrases that he was saying
Hmm.
that really got people riled up. But back
Hmm.
then, I didn't really have those same feelings. I'm like, like for what? Like, because I didn't
Hmm.
understand about like the illegal immigration like I do now. Because now
Hmm.
we're seeing like the devastating effects of it. So now I understand how important it is about, border
Hmm.
control and all of that. And then, how Texas can't even do certain things because the border is like a federal issue. You know what I mean? So it's like they're fighting with their, to protect their own backyard, and they can't even do that because then the federal government comes in and stops what they're doing.
Hmm.
Like that's crazy. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I think that the border, well, like you said, I actually think that it should be reinforced. I think that we should have stronger,
Hmm.
reinforcements to not let illegals come in. But
Hmm.
I'm all for immigration. Like if there's people coming to this country to make it better or to make a better life for themselves, yeah,
Hmm.
that makes sense. You know what I mean? That makes sense. But everything else, I'm like, oh no, I can't. I can't support that because then you see on the news all these people either dying or getting murdered because of somebody came to this country and they were already murderers in their own country, and then they're
How,
just pouring into this country.
how many people live in Florida? You live in the state of Florida, right?
I do, but I don't know. I mean, I could look it up.
Florida.
Yeah,
It's a
Florida
lot of people there,
population
right?
22.61 million. Yeah, that's a lot
Oh,
of
that's
people.
it. That's it in Florida.
Yep.
I thought there was more than that. What about Texas?
Okay,
It has a
let's see. 'Cause
lot, right?
30.50 million.
Hmm. New York
Yeah.
would be your biggest one, right? New
Yeah,
York's
definitely. Yeah, that's one of the biggest cities. And New
like
York is destroyed. Like, I couldn't believe it because I left during COVID. It was 2021. And I
oh,
left
okay.
because, yeah, I couldn't even hold a job because they were forcing people to vaccinate. And then you would
Hmm.
have to present a vaccine card to your place of work. And they were checking you as if they were checking your identification. And in America, that's it, like, you don't do that here. No, like, you know that meme of like the Wakanda. He's like, no, we don't do that here. Like, literally, it was like Nazi Germany. They were like, show me your cards if you're able to come in this establishment, and if you
Mhm.
didn't present the card, they would deny you entry. So that's like, discriminating, vaccinated people and anti-vax people. So that's
Mhm.
that was a division that was going on there. And so my job told me, we're not gonna schedule you anymore. And I was like, why? I'm able to work. I'm healthy. Like, there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with me. And they told me, since you don't want to provide this information, we're not gonna schedule you. But we're not gonna fire you. So
Mhm.
technically, they never fired me. I just stopped coming because they stopped scheduling me. So you see
So
how weird that gets?
did Trump push the vaccines, or did he push it, or was it
That's what
just
gets me so upset, is because he wants to take credit for the vaccine coming out so fast because of whatever policy he
Mhm.
put in place to fund it or whatever, and it came out faster than what it would have. Because I'm like, why is he promoting this? I think more so he was favorable about it in public,
Mhm.
and then that's what gets people like us, more conservative people, like, why are you trying to push something that is going to either mandate people to take something when you should be, pro freedom, pro American? That's not
Mhm.
American. Like, it's anti-American to make people make a decision about their own body that they don't want to do, just to have a job or just to go take an airplane, like recreational stuff. So that's when I was like, oh, this is no good. I can't
They
even
did
work.
that. They did that here in Canada too. I since the vaccine, I lost all my work.
You
I had
see.
to retire, early retirement. I had no choice. The vaccine, the virus came, and they shut
Mm-hmm.
all the borders down. We have
Yep.
provinces, you have states, we have provinces. Well, all of my
Mm-hmm.
work was in the Northwest Territories, all of it. And
Mm-hmm.
I had to cross a border. And to cross that border, I needed two sets of vaccines that haven't even been out yet.
You
They weren't
see.
even out yet. But I needed this paperwork in place. So then
Mm-hmm.
I had these people calling me to fly up and do work, and he said, "You fly up here." Like, I was getting swore at by my customers, and they wanted me to fly up there, and they would take care of it all, and blah 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 blah. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't fly up. I wasn't going to go to jail, because
You see.
it was criminal. You'll go to
Yeah.
jail. I wrote I wrote about this in my book, To the Satu. It's the third
Mm-hmm.
book. These are little novel kind of books, To the Satu.
Mm-hmm.
And so I take real events, and then I make fantasies out of them, kind of like
Yeah.
fictional stories. And
Mm-hmm.
in this fictional story, I hopped on an electric bike, and I went up there because of the vaccine. So I went up on an electric bike. I bypassed all the border patrols with the kids riding bikes in these little towns, and I got up there, and I got this job transferring this canoe 1,000 kilometers on the big Mackenzie River. I had to go 1,000 kilometers on a solar powered canoe. And so I explained that journey. And then I went to these various tribes, Indian tribes. And then I met Two Ravens, who is the Indian spirit that floats, appears, a magical kind of
Mm-hmm.
guy. And I
Mm-hmm.
put that in the book, and it was kind of fun. And it led into the last book. But I'll eventually put some of these. Lots of people don't read. So I'll eventually put all these on video. They're stories.
Nice.
you know.
Yeah,
But
but you see
anyways,
how. Uh-huh. Go ahead.
yeah, you go ahead. I was gonna get off screen here, but you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, you see how worse it was in Canada? And
Oh, yeah.
imagine that happening in America when we're supposed to have these freedoms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not with it.
Yeah.
I had to leave.
I don't know what to say. We just stayed on the farm and buckled down, and I wasn't going to go to jail over this crap.
Yep.
You just do what you do, right? But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, I give you a lot of credit, Ruby. Keep at it. That's fabulous that you're getting into politics. It's something that we couldn't do when we were in the religion, eh? And
Exactly.
but when you look at the Bible is full of politics. It's full of it. King Solomon, that was all political.
Yep.
And yeah, you could back it easily. The
Mm-hmm.
the Bible talks about it. Says
Right.
support government. Well, if you're going to support government, it says in Romans support government. Well, then you should be
Mm-hmm.
voting for the government you're going to support, right? Because really,
Exactly.
the government is just a building. The government's just the building, but the government's the people that occupy the building. And how did they
Mm-hmm.
get there? Well, they were voted in by all the other people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is. It's a majority. So the government's just a building. It's stone. It's nothing.
Right.
But we
Right.
as the people are the government,
Yes,
right? Did I get
man.
that part right?
Yes, definitely. What? You
Okay.
sound like more like us now.
Well, we'll get going, and we'll have to. I'm too old. I'm on my way out, but you're on your way in.
Aw.
You could change the world, man, lady.
Yes, thank you. That's why I'm
Okay.
doing this because
Keep
people
up the
need
good
to.
work.
Yes,
Bye
thank you,
bye, everyone.
Vern.
Okay.
Bye. Oh, that was amazing. Yep. And that's why I like talking to other people, like in different countries, because I feel like all I know right now is the American stuff, so I'm trying to educate myself with my own, like my own country, my own government before I start having an opinion about other countries. You see what I'm saying? This is why a lot of these conversations happen, with different people online and stuff like that. And everybody gets into arguing of like who's better, who's, this and that. And I'm like, none of that matters. Like, forget the noise. Research who you're voting for. If you're comfortable and that it aligns with your values, whatever values that may be, because that can really determine the future, like literally. And I never thought that politics could really interfere with our lives like that until COVID happened. And I was thinking, oh no, the governments would never, tread on us. The government would never tell us that we can't go to work or that we can't send our kids to school unless they have a vaccination. There's exemptions for this kind of stuff. There's religious exemptions and stuff like that. And I had to get one of those, even though I wasn't religious, because I'm like, this is the only exemption that they provide. So you would have to get a religious exemption if you don't want to get these vaccinations. And there's also like another law that says a place of employment cannot be asking you questions about your health. So this whole vaccine stuff was totally like a violation of HIPAA laws. And I only like really understood about that when I was going to a medical assistant college program for like 9 months. It was like an accelerated program. And then they help you find a job and stuff like that at like a local community college. And as I'm taking that course, we started learning things about viruses, things about, you know, getting sick, helping somebody, identifying if somebody's ill or whatever, because you're taking down people's information and blood pressure and, all this information. So we learned about viruses in this course, but then the TV is telling me something completely different, as if people are going to be dropping dead like flies, as if this virus is like so deadly. Like it was crazy. You already know. I don't have to explain that part to you guys. You already know. Okay, we all went through that together. So I'm just saying that I realized these things early on because I was exposed and with that information, that knowledge, learning these things, speaking to real nurses, you know what I mean? Like real people in that college who are educators, and they told us the truth. Okay. And once if you're lucky enough to have people telling you the truth, you can make better decisions. Because at first I was scared. I was like, oh my God, do I have to take my kids out of school? And what do I do? Because they were in school at that time. And that was the first time that they forced all the kids to do homeschooling. So everything was remote. Okay, that was like the biggest mistake that they can make, because now we learned how to live without these institutions, without the schools, without going to a physical office, because we're doing everything online, everything on Zoom, everything, virtually. So they kind of messed up with that, because now we're all a little bit more tech savvy than we were 5 years ago, and we can figure this stuff out for ourselves. And so that's when I realized that homeschooling is possible, because I thought I would never be able to do that. But the remote learning, and they provided laptops, they provided, everything for the child to learn. I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. So that's when I realized that I had this hidden power. Like, of course, you can take care of your kids all day long. Like, who told you that you had to send your kids to school? You see what I'm saying? So once you start breaking down those like society structures of feeling like you have to do this because everybody else does it, or, like that you have to get a job, or you have to do this, or have to do that, there's other ways of living. There's different types of lifestyles, So you just have to open your mind a little bit and try it, test it. So COVID was that test for me. And then after everything came back up and running, I was like, I sent them back to school, and I was like, I don't think this is working out. They were having issues and, like behavioral stuff. So I was just like, you know what? I think we're going to do homeschooling. And then another great thing, going along with politics, is that the state of Florida offers a scholarship. And this scholarship gives the parents the money instead of giving it to the DOE. So if each child gets $10,000 for their learning experience that the school would get, in Florida, that money for each child is going directly to the parent. And then you get to decide how to use those funds. And so I think Florida, and I think Arizona is another state. So only 2 or 3 states at the moment have this in place. And this was only possible through those laws, through those bills, relocating those funds to fund the parents instead of the school system. So you see, we have more freedoms even in Florida than I did in the state of New York. So even though you're in America and you think it's free, each state is going to say something different. New York City was telling me it is illegal for me to homeschool my children in the city, not the state. So you see, this is where it gets messy. In the city, those mandates were in place. In the state, I think you could do whatever you want. Like, it was a little bit more free. So the city was telling me I can't do this unless I get all my kids vaccinated. And I said, well, I'm not vaccinating my kid, so I'm not going to enroll them into school. And then the city comes back and they say, well, if you don't send your kids to school, you're going to get arrested. Okay, so now you're not giving people a choice. So that's how important these politics are, because the city of New York is Democrat. It's blue. And those are the policies that they want to have it. Have it. You could have the city, you could have the mayor, you could have everybody. I want no parts of it. Hey, Matthew. Hey, Jane. Oh, I'm catching up to everybody's comments. At least we don't have to worry about members of the governing body running for political office. Imagine if they did, right? Because I've been looking up into the whole Mormon stuff, and a lot of those people, they infiltrate politics. So you see how dangerous that is? You see what I'm saying? We have 2 liberal parties, but Trump is better. Well, okay. Popular parties, yes, because I do believe that they don't advertise the other parties as much as they do with the Democrats and the Republicans. Like, what happened to the Libertarian Party? What happened to independents? And what happened to the Patriot Party? Or like all of these other parties that you look up. There's like 10 or more different parties in Florida. You know what I mean? But if you have a closed primary, you can't vote for that person unless you are voting for the nominee of that party. So I wouldn't be able to vote for Trump if I was registered to a different party. So I'm forced to be a Republican, even though I don't identify as a Republican. So that's another thing. We're registered as one thing, but you identify as another thing. And if you want to discuss your, political identity in that way, that's what this series is going to be about. Honestly, Jehovah's Witness nationalism would be better than the liberal president we have now in certain areas. Yeah, we spoke about that a little bit. The Libertarian Party is a joke. Libertarianism is in a sad place. Yeah, I know. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of those waking up journeys, they correlate, because now you're waking up to the world. Now you're waking up to politics. And then you have to realize, well, which party do I want to be a part of? Which, angles do I agree with? Which ideas do I agree with? So right now, I am registered Republican, and I do intend on voting Republican if Trump is the nominee. But I do have major issues with Trump. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but we could definitely have another stream for that one, because this is already super long as it is. Dang, well, that's difficult. I guess you're going to have to be GOP to vote for Trump. Yeah, you have to. Definitely have to. But I don't identify as that, all right? So let's just get that straight. I don't identify myself as a Republican. So this is the intro. This is the intro to the discussion, because in future streams, I hope that people can catch this one first, so that they know what my ideas are before we get into like other streams where everybody's talking at the same time, So I'm going to give my intro of where I am in the political spectrum. It's weird how most XJWs, with the exception of you and I and a few others, are super far left. That's a fact. That's a fact. And that's why these types of spaces don't really exist within the XJW community, because majority of them are the same ideology. There's no need for them, to like talk about anything else, because they already agree with each other. I felt like I was the only one who disagreed with the majority of the, online presence. Oh my God, these little hairs are like bothering me. Great discussion idea, Matthew. Also considering the JW government, they believe will be implemented in the new world. Lots to talk about there. Exactly. Like I told Matthew, I was like, doesn't that feel a little bit like how they talk about the new world order, how they talk about this utopia of you will own nothing and be happy? Like, which political party talks like that? Right? And then when you figure out if you go down the rabbit hole of Rutherford, that he campaigned, he was like a volunteer for a Democratic campaign. So now he was a lawyer. Now he had a little bit of, he was not, I don't think he was rich, but he had money for the time period that he was living in. He was a lawyer. He was a circuit judge. And then now that we know that he was involved in politics, that he was campaigning for a Democratic person, and I wish I could do more deep research into that, because I feel like that's the conspiracy. I feel like the Democrats infiltrated through Rutherford, and that's when everything started changing within the religion. But that could be a whole different conspiracy stream. That could be a whole different subject. Lloyd Evans is their cult leader. We're still based. Matthew, you already know I want you on one of these streams. I want you to enlighten me on your political journey and where you are now, because I see your tweets, I see like the way you talk and everything, and for such a young person, I am like, I envy you a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, I admire how free you are as well, and talking about your your beliefs and your stance, and why why yeah, because okay, Lloyd comment, I don't think that he's like their cult leader, but I do think that he's like he appeases the people. You know what I mean? Like when he had his scandal and everything, he will bow down and say, "Yes, I'm sorry for getting caught," but it's like, I don't know how he really feels. You know what I mean? Because I feel like he's just going to bend to do whatever his followers want or whatever his viewers want. So I'm like, yeah, I'm good with that. I feel like he's bought and paid for. I feel like he's a plant. I'm going to start sounding like a QAnon, but for real, I do feel like Lloyd is no good. He doesn't represent me anymore. I feel like I already moved on from my Lloyd Evans phase, and I feel like I'm over it. I'm appreciative for somebody like Lloyd, but after certain comments were made to me publicly on Twitter about politics with Lloyd, I felt like he went totally out of line, and I disagreed with most of his stances, and he was just having problems like on the internet that I was just like, I don't want nothing to do with this. I'm going to make up my own mind. I'm going to do my own research, and that's it. And then I was just like a closeted Republican. I was a closeted Christian because I already knew that the majority of the XJW community on Twitter was left, like you said, Matthew. So I've only become vocal like after 2020. So that's like what 4 years. So within the last 4 years of everything happening with this whole election, the irregularities, illegitimate presidency, whatever, that's what woke me up that this is more serious than what I thought it was. And I felt like, okay, you know what? I don't care what the XJW community is going to say online. I'm going to post my views. If you follow me on Twitter, if anybody goes to my Twitter right now at New Yorker Rican, you will see how open I am and how transparent I am with all of my views. I share things, I retweet things, I like things. Like before the likes were blocked, I didn't care. I liked whatever I wanted to like. I am no longer afraid, even within the XJW community, to share these views and to discuss them. So that's why when Chaka came up to me, well, he texted me, when he texted me and he was like, oh, the UK elections are the first week of July. We should do a stream like this. I was like, bro, you speaking my language. Like I've been waiting for somebody to tell me that they want to talk about politics so I can start this, because I wanted to do it forever. Like those were my intentions starting this channel, is to start off with the background story. Like, yes, we all have a similar background. We left the cult. We woke up. Congratulations. Now let's move on with our lives. How do you do everything else without the organization, right? So let's just focus on the aftermath. Let's focus on moving on. And so one of those things that really got to me was politics. I jumped right into it. It's amazing how much you can learn. It intertwines with every aspect of life. So that's when I realized that it does have an impact on our lives with this whole New York City issue, COVID issue. As soon as I moved to Florida, it was free down here. Nobody was asking you questions. The masking thing was already like toned down. You could go to any business you wanted to do. You could send your kids back to school. It was free. I was like, this is insane, because you think that you're stuck in New York City. You think like, oh, I can't live anywhere else. This is my job. This is where, everything, my whole family is. But you see, I already got rid of those feelings when they started shunning me. I don't have anything there left. So what am I staying for? So I do understand other people and why they do what they do. But for me, it was easy to pick up and leave, go to Florida, start a whole new life again. Like, this is the third time I do this. You know what I mean? Like, starting over. This is the third time I do this. So it was easy for me to do that. And I felt even better now coming back, because I was like, I'm coming back for my freedom. Because I'm not going to stay in a city that is forcing me to vaccinate my children or to vaccinate myself to hold a job. What, for money? No, I will make a living elsewhere. I would move to a different state and, live. I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, but I am never going to let a government or a mayor or some mandate, whatever the government says, I will never do. So I am anti-Fed. Rutherford, Heavenly Kubad, Befserim. Lloyd Evans, controlled opposition. Well, controlled by who? Because I don't feel like Watchtower has anything to do with it. I don't know. I'm not that far deep into conspiracy like that, but I do feel like he is controlled by the people supporting him. Okay. So he's going to do whatever they say. He's a yes man. He's a people pleaser. And if he starts losing money, if he starts losing, subscribers, then he's going to do whatever it takes to get that back. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he's sold for the people. He's bought for, okay. They're paying him to be Lloyd Evans, So let's say if he turned around and he wasn't making the videos that he wasn't, and he actually said something outrageous or did something like whatever, he would lose those people because they don't really agree with you. So are you willing to lose them and still be yourself? Or are you going to bend and fold and try to recoup oops, I made a mistake? No. You see, I'm not paid. I don't make money from this. The channel is monetized, but that's like $1 or less than a half a dollar for an advertisement or something. You know what I mean? So I feel free. I freed myself mentally, religiously, emotionally. I freed myself. So why would I hold myself back from this channel? You know what I mean? From sharing this another aspect of myself so that other people can feel comfortable enough to do it with me or to do it on their own channels. Like, at least you're talking about it. At least you're doing it. But I don't care because I'm going to say whatever I want. Ain't nobody paying me to say what I'm saying. Ain't nobody paying me to make XJW content. Like, no, that's where I started. Yeah. But that's it. I'm not. Nope. You should have a live stream for the Trump versus Biden debate this Thursday evening. What? Thank you for telling me it was this Thursday. What's today? Tuesday. Oh my God. I need to write that down. Yo, thank you for telling me that because that's exactly so I would do that. I would do like a live stream of watching the debate with you guys, right? Like a watch party. And then we could comment like a Steven Crowder living room. We should do that. We should definitely do that. Okay, I'm gonna write that down. I might be back here Thursday evening. Hi, Lisa. Yes. Well, if you just got here, you could definitely rewind after this stream is done because I think it's super fun, super important. We're gonna do this at least once a week, so you can come on. Dang, that is intense. New York is insane. I remember you told me how insane it was. Yeah, it's really crazy during that time. Okay. And then when the mandates came off, now everybody could go back to normal as if they weren't forcing you to do something you didn't want to do. Like what? And you know what doesn't make sense is because most of them are left leaning, right? Like New York City is blue. They were not so long ago protesting my body, my choice, my body, my choice. But then the government tells you to take a shot and you took it anyways. What happened to my body, my choice? What happened, guys? Because I was like, not chill. My body, my choice. Now conservatives are protesting that. I was forced to get vaxxed against my will by family members. Oh, I'm so sorry, Matthew. You can do a detox. Yeah, you could do a vaccine detox. I've heard of these people. They detox out all of those metals and stuff like that. So you should Google that and look into that and detox yourself because it's so scary. I have started all over many times. Yep, exactly. We need to get comfortable with starting over. Honestly, I hated it, but that's what it is. Can you look into natural ways to detox? Yes. I gave a comment at the meeting the other day, subtly referencing Lloyd Evans. They were talking about apostates in the meeting. Oh my God, yo, you still go to meetings? And I said, watch out for bad who are nerding. Oh my God, that is funny. That's funny. Oh my goodness. Matthew, and in the next meeting they talk about apostates. You could mention me. I'll give you permission. Be careful with Puerto Rican girls in wigs. Oh my God. Oh yeah. PSA. I just bought 2 new wigs for this new series. So I'm gonna try out the new wig as soon as it comes in the mail, and I'm gonna see which is my political persona. I got like a blonde wig and like a light brown ombre. So I'm gonna do like a poll or something. Do you guys want to see a blonde version of myself or a light brown ombre for the political series? And you already know the background gonna be American. Detox. Yeah, look it up, Matthew. Please look up how to detox yourself from vaccinations. I've heard stories, people have done it because a lot of people feel like vaccines cause autism, and there's a lot of different, people online blogs or so please Google it, and if I do find something I will send it to you on Discord because yeah, I felt like that's what happened with me as well because I was giving the vaccines to all of my kids when they were babies. I didn't know any better. I was a teen mom. And then after my firstborn came out with autism, that's when I realized, oh, maybe it was from that. But you can't really pinpoint that. So, of course, they're not going to say it was a vaccine. So you know what? I said, you know what? I'm just going to do my own experiment and I'm not going to vaccinate any of my other children and see if they turn out autistic. And that's exactly what I did. And nobody else turned out autistic. Only that one child that had all of the vaccines. So that's just my personal experience. That's what happened to me. I'm not, speaking for everybody. But I mean, I am anti-vax. So I mean, I would never advocate for vaccinations ever again, but that's just my experience. Detox flush toxins out of the body. There are natural remedies. I know an Epsom salt bath is one. May want to look it up. People do detox after vaccines. Yep. Yep. Look that up. Yes, I will rewind and watch the first part. Yes, Lisa. Okay, so I'm going to end it here because it's already been an hour by myself. I was not expecting this because I was going to do it with Chaka. But I forgot his stream was for next Tuesday. Okay, so I'm going to try to do this every Tuesday, and I'm going to have him on for the UK elections that are coming up. I don't know anything of politics about the UK, so I'm going to let him, give it to us. I'll ask questions and stuff like that. It's going to be educational. Educational is going to be informative, and then we're going to discuss his personal political views. I discussed some of mine in this stream, so I am Republican, but I don't identify. I feel I am Christian conservative, and I'm more conservative. I don't know what they call it, but I feel ultra conservative. I'm anti-vax, anti-government. What else did we talk about today? I am for the border wall. I most likely will be voting for Trump come November. And okay, so that's just the basics. So you got the basics. It's amazing how many things you can find free off the side of the road in New Zealand. I moved to CHCH with my clothes, and 3 years later, I have a full house. Oh, wow. I'm happy for you. Yeah, excited for you, Lisa. Okay, be careful. Those are fighting words in the XJW circle. What words? What words? You see what I'm saying? I feel like I can create a safe place for us to have these discussions. I'm not going to be judgmental. I'm not really here for that. I'm just here for open discussion. So I'm willing to put myself out there, and I hope that other people can come on in the future and discuss, their stand. I want all views because that is what's going to start the conversation. We can ask each other questions like, how did you become conservative, or how did you become liberal or progressive, or why do you, support this or support that? And then in the future, we can have debates, more structured debates, and have different people debating each other, or have like a topic that we talk about, and then we'll just talk about that whole topic the entire hour. So I already have a couple of ideas that I want to start on. And I'm also giving this my own spin on it, my own background, because I'm sharing my experience at the same time that I'm talking about, politics and stuff like that. So next Tuesday, we will be back here. Yes, look forward to it next week. Bye. Christchurch, LOL, we called it CHH. Oh, okay. XJW is full of liberal hive mind. Part of the reason I don't engage with them anymore. Exactly. They kicked me out of the XJW circles on Twitter because that's where I was originally in the community, was through Twitter. And once I came out the closet that I was a Republican and a Christian voter and a Trump supporter, they threw me out. And I kind of felt like they were doing what the Jehovah's Witnesses were doing. So it was really unfortunate. And I felt like we come from something that will soft shun you if you don't agree with what the rest of the group is saying. So why would you guys do that to another XJW? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not right in my opinion, because I didn't say anything when they were doing their stuff. They were doing their marches, their protests, and I wasn't, being, argumentative or anything like that. So I am sharing the Discord link because if you do want to have these conversations in a chat, or if you want to come on stream next time, I have everything on Discord and I'm on there every night. So I am going to be sharing a lot of that stuff in my channel link or whatever, and the creator community. I think that's what it's called. Let me check. Yeah, creator community. You'll see my name there, and that's where I put all of my stuff. And I have, I talk to people on there. Great job, Ruby. Nice chatting, friends. Yes, I love the chat. Hope to see you Thursday for the debate. Oh yes, exactly. They left one cult right into another. And that's what they were telling me. They were telling me that I left one cult for the MAGA cult. And I have heard that so much that it doesn't even bother me anymore. So we're gonna be doing this. We're gonna be doing this. If you want to join, click that link or copy that Discord link, join the server, and then join my tab. I have like my own channel on there. And we can talk about, this stuff. So next Thursday, hopefully Chaka will be on 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And that is 8 p.m. I think that's 8 or 9 p.m. in London. And that's where he is at. And that's going to be about the UK elections. So I'm going to let Chaka have the floor. All right, guys. I guess I will see you soon. Bye.